thank you so much, Ashley, for this introduction. And I'm very happy to be here, very excited to have you all on this call. And we are also in a very exciting phase now with this project, since we just released a couple of things today, like one of them being the Dev UI. We already had the Dev UI out there, like I think since June or even May, but it was like feature incomplete. So, I mean, it allowed you to play around with the borrowing functionality and with some other functionality, but it wasn't complete in the sense that the fees weren't there yet, and the whole like ecosystem with the secondary token or LQTY token wasn't implemented yet. So this is now all done. It's fully functional. You can try it out at devui.liquity.org and play around with it yourself. It's running on all 4 testnets. Though I think the version we prepared, like to make it a little bit more realistic when you try it, is running on Kovan, if I'm not mistaken, because you will see that it like the fees, how they evolve, it depends a little bit on how much LUSD is out in circulation. And so we prepared it a little bit by filling it with some troves. So that's number one. Then the other thing is that, I mean, to power this Dev UI, we also need the backend, and the backend is now, I would say, also complete. It's now undergoing an audit or security audit by Trail of Bits. We are now into 2.5 weeks into that audit. And yeah, I would say that nothing serious have come out of it yet. So, I mean, of course, there were a couple of minor issues and informational issues, but it's not that anything would stand out as being very critical. So that's, the audit is still ongoing, so there are still a few more days, so it will end this week, but we are very confident that it will end in a positive way, so we wouldn't need to fix a lot of issues. So I think this is now, yeah, where we stand currently. And yeah, one more thing is that we also just released the middleware. I can maybe tell you like a little bit. We have like the contracts, the smart contracts running on Ethereum, written in Solidity. We also have this Dev UI, and later on we will have the real UI, the launch kit. But in between, there are a couple of libraries which make it easier for like the front ends or the UI to communicate with the backend, because the backend, the contracts, they are a bit involved. So there are quite a couple of things there. So this middleware, I mean, actually there are multiple libraries which make it much easier to communicate. So that's now in our public repo, so you can now see how this works. And also much of the secret sauce that Rick will be presenting like very quickly, the math proofs that Ashley already mentions. So this will now show you how we achieve basically all the functionality, because we have we needed to use quite some tricks to make it scalable, to make all the redistributions, the liquidations and so on work, even with millions or hundreds of thousands of troves and borrowers. So I'm very excited to have this out now, and you will see there are now 2 papers on that subject. And going forward, I mean, the year is now coming to an end, but there are a lot of still like some things we need to do. So this year we already had quite some attempts to do the design, the UX design basically of our app, like the front and launch kit that people should be able to install. Like we already had design sessions on that. Internally, we don't have like designers, so that's why we reached out to some firms. Unfortunately, there were a few setbacks, I would say, so it didn't come out the way we expected, but we always learned, like after, like we had 3 attempts basically, and we learned from them. Like I think now we also found a great company called DeepWorks Studios, and they really, I mean, they have experience in blockchain UX design. And in January, like the first 3 weeks of January will be spent on designing basically the new app, which we will then offer as a launch kit to people. So that's a pretty packed roadmap, because we are still like targeting Q1, or I would say like rather March would be my best bet, I would say, for like going live with this project. So we need to, or we should have some UX ready, even though the protocol itself is almost complete. I mean, except for the issues that we may have to fix after the audit. So that's where we stand right now. And And yeah, I'm really happy that we are here, and I think I will let, who is next one, take over, I think.
I think it's me.
Yes, I make you the host, Rick.
Yes, that's Rick. Yes. And Rick is going to talk about the proofs here. So everybody, get out your notepads. Hope you're paying attention. This is the real tea right here.
All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks Robert and Ashley. Okay, I'll just share my screen for the first proof. Okay, can you see that? Cool. All right. So we have two math proofs coming out this week. Basically, they're kind of core foundational properties of our system that we've spent quite a bit of time working on, and they're very kind of closely related to scalability. And this one here is proving that a certain property of our system holds as liquidations occur. And this property that we want to hold is that the list of troves are always maintain, they're always in the correct order. So they maintain order from low to high in terms of their collateral ratio. And this is like really important because when we do redemptions in Liquity, they start from the bottom of the system. So they start from the trove with like the lowest active trove is the one that's is the start of the redemption. So we needed to show that this property always holds when liquidations occur, because we had a formula for this redistribution, but we need to be sure that it doesn't. There's no like sort of strange system state that is going to break the order. So we dug into the mathematical structure. We set about proving it, and this is the result. And it's like a 15-page math paper. It's pretty technical. And it's pretty rigorous and kind of an academic style. And I'll just start with a bit of a summary. Basically, the structure of the proof is that we look at the simplest case first, and then we expand out from there. So we look at this case where there's like one new trove created after one liquidation, and then we prove that it holds for that. And then here it is, this one. And then we move down to like the next case where we include several liquidations, and we include several trove creations and several liquidations. So we kind of expand it from the simple case outward until we get to like the general case, which is where the proof holds for like the entire system in any state of complexity. So at that point we can say, okay, we're sure the ordering is maintained in our system. And that's what we need for redemptions, basically. So we'd already tested it experimentally with our smart contracts, but this proof is really what gives us that 100% certainty that ordering is maintained. Okay, I'll move on to the next proof. I think I can just do this. Did that switch it on the screen? Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. This is our second math paper out this week, and it's on the stability pool formula, basically. And it's the formula we use to make the stability pool very scalable. And in Liquity, we have this thing that I mentioned before, where there's like a compounding decreasing stake in the stability pool as the deposit like absorbs debt and it gets rewarded with an ETH gain. So we needed to like figure out how to actually do this mathematically and make it scalable. And this paper is all about that. We derive the formula for the compounding deposit here, and then also the corresponding ETH gain for that deposit, which is here. So there's this derivation of the formulas we use, and then paper goes into the implementation on Ethereum. And we kind of talk about some of the problems we faced actually like squeezing this onto the blockchain and making this kind of pure math actually work in a practical way in Solidity smart contracts. And that's at the end of the proof there. And related to this, we also have a blog post. I'll just try and share that now. And this basically describes it in much more kind of accessible terms, without too much algebra, and a few diagrams as well, just to kind of make it clear what's going on with our stability pool and how this whole thing works. Yeah, so that's it from the mathematical side of things. Bingen and I have been working on these for quite a long time, put a lot of hours into it. So if there's any people who want to get into the technical guts of this stuff, that would be great. We'd be happy to set up another call for that, or we can always discuss in the Discord as well.
Thanks so much, Rick. Yeah, I think we're going to need to set up a separate call where we sort of like dive into the particulars with you and Bingin for anyone that's interested. I know I've actually already heard of some people talking about it in some of the, you know, Telegram chats. So I think that that will be in order probably after the first of the year. So keep an eye on the Discord. We'll let you guys know when that's coming up. Next up, we have.
Could you send that link into
Ewan.
the chat, please?
Yes, we'll do, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll just change the host.
Definitely. And next up, we actually have a presentation from Yulin, who, as I mentioned, can't be here today. He's on the other side of the globe, one of the downsides of working in a global market, but he recorded it for us. So I think actually, Rick, you need to give Robert control of the meeting, and then Robert can play the video.
Yeah, I just made you the host, Robert.
Thanks. I think it should work. Can you see my screen? You see it?
Yep.
Cool. And hear it, like in a sec.
All right. Hi, everyone. So due to time zone difference, I cannot attend this virtual office hour in person. That's why I recorded this video to show you the macroeconomic model and simulation. I have been working with my 2 research assistants over the last 3 months. Without further ado, let's jump directly into the model. The model is written in Python. The simulation is written in Python and on Google Colab. Okay, so it's structured as follows. We first have the parameters and the initialization, and then the exogenous factors like the ether price and natural rate, which I will elaborate in a few minutes. And then here we define the truth operations. Now we can open truths, close truths, adjust truth, collateral ratio, and so on and so forth. And then we have the loose token market, and LQTY used to be called the gross token market. And we have the simulation for 2 scenarios. In the first scenario, we consider a constant best rate, like 1% redemption fee rate and 1% issuance fee rate. It's a fixed constant rate. In the second scenario, so the first scenario is called a baseline approach, baseline scenario. And the second scenario is called alternative scenario. We are looking for the optimal fee rates for issuance fee and redemption fee. So it's called alternative, but the objective is to find the optimal fee rates. So we call it the optimal scenario. So we run the baseline scenario and optimal scenario, and then we compare in the last part. Okay, so let's quickly go through the first few sections, and then spend more time on the exhibition. Okay, so in the baseline scenario, we have 1% issuance fee rate and 1% redemption fee rate. In the second scenario, the alternative approach, we have 50 basis points, 0.5% fixed rate for both issuance fee rate and redemption fee rate. And then we add a component that is proposed in the white paper. So the best rate hikes with the volume of the redemption. So with more redemption in this period, we have higher best rate. But this additional component decays to 0 over time. So if there's no redemption for a long time, the issuance fee and redemption fee converge to 0.5%. So it's half of the issuance fee and redemption fee in the baseline approach. Okay, we run the simulation for the first year, and we have the ether price starts from $1,000 and it's pretty volatile. Okay. Okay, let me skip this part, the rest of the parameters, and show you some.
Robert, is the screen supposed to be black now?
No.
Follows a random walk.
So you can see.
And then we also have natural rate. So the natural rate is a return, or it's also the opportunity cost for stability pool providers. So if they stake loose token in the stability,
can you pause the video?
The stability pool return.
Robert.
Sorry.
Yeah, try pausing the video and then see if you can.
The liquidation gain and airdrop gain, right? But if they so if they stake in the stability pool, they forego some return in exogenous, in the external decentralized applications like Uniswap or Compound, and this, the exogenous natural rate represents the return, the opportunity cost for those stability pool providers. Okay, so this is exogenous factors. And next, let's define the actions, truth actions. So if at the beginning of each period, liquidators or speculators, if they find some truths are under-collateralized, that could trigger the liquidation and earn some fee, right? So truths that are under-collateralized are liquidated, okay? And in each period, we also have quite some people who want to close their truths. So the number of truths that are closed follows a random walk, but it decreases, number decreases with the loose token price. So if the loose token price is too high, they might want to wait a bit until loose token price converges to $1. And the next, the third action truth owners can do is to adjust their truths, the collateral ratios of their truths. The collateral ratio varies with the Ether price, right? If Ether price increases or decreases, the collateral ratio of their truths also change accordingly. And if the collateral ratio is outside of their comfortable zone, they might readjust their truths by either adjusting the date position or adding or reducing the collateral in the truth. Okay, so this is a truth adjustment. And in each period, there are also a random number of truths opened, and the number of truths that are opened in each period increases with the price of the loose token. The higher loose token price, the more truths are opened per period. Okay, so this is truth operations, and the next we can define the loose market. So loose token supply comes from the truths that exist in the current period, and the demand or the loose token supply, loose token goes to two pools. One is stability pool, and then stability pool providers earn stability pool return, and the second pool is liquidity pool, right? So people might want to hold loose token to for other purposes, right? You might want to stake in Curve, Balancer, Compound, Uniswap, right? Or you just want to hold in your own wallet, or you want to use it as a medium of exchange. Okay, this is liquidity pool. Okay, and then we have the growth token. Now it's called LQTY market. And the LQTY token price, the fundamental value of LQTY token is supported by the earnings. Right? If you stake LQTY token in the LQTY token pool, you earn the issuance fee and redemption fee. Right? If you stake LQTY token in the pool, you don't gain governance fee, governance power. So the only support fundamental value of the LQTY token for the moment is the issuance fee and redemption fee, and the higher is the fee revenue over last month. The higher is the support, the solid support of the LQTY token price. Okay, then we run a simulation for the baseline approach, and then for the alternative approach, as I said, the fee model here follows 0.50 basis point. This is a fixed one, and then we have a decay model here. So if the redemption pool size grows, then we have higher base rate for the moment, for the current period, and then it decays over time. Right, and all right. So let's see this the results. Okay, maybe let me first show you the issuance fee and redemption fee. See in the blue line represents the baseline approach. We have fixed 1% fee, and the red line represents alternative approach. At the beginning we have more redemptions fee, so it hikes to as high as 6%, but over time decays to 0.5%, right? It deviates whenever there's a redemption fee, but then it decays to 0.5%. Okay, so next, let's see the loose supply and also the number of truths, which is shown here. So the solid lines represent the baseline approach. You see the red line represents loose supply, amounts to 500 million, and the blue line represents the number of truths, it amounts to 700. Due to the time and the computation capacity, we reduce the number of truths by 20, and simultaneously we multiply the date position per truth by 20. Okay, so that's why you see only 700 truths at the end of the first year. And if you see the optimal approach, we have lower loose supply and number of truths. The reason is, let's see why we have this. We can decompose the supply into two parts, right? The stability pool and the liquidity pool. Okay, let me skip this part. Let's say the liquidity pool. This one shows stability pool in the baseline approach. This blue solid line represents the liquidity pool in the baseline approach. Okay, and then dashed lines. So this one, the purple shows the liquidity pool. You see it's slightly higher than this one, and the stability pool in the alternative approach is much lower. And this is because of the return is lower in the alternative approach. I will explain why it's lower in the alternative approach. Okay, because this is lower, more loose token flows to the liquidity pool. That explains why the liquidity pool is larger, but the stability pool is lower. Okay, we also have redemption. Redemption is much smaller, so we multiply it by 100. You see, in the baseline approach, we barely have any redemption. It's not visible. And in the alternative approach, we have more redemptions. Okay. And why we have more redemptions? Maybe Robert, you can elaborate on that, right? Because when the redemption fee rate is 1%, it's more profitable for you to redeem if the price is lower than 99 cents. Okay, and in the alternative approach, we have lower redemption fee rate, so that's why it's easier for people to redeem. Whenever the price is lower than 99.5 cents, it's more profitable to redeem. So the lower is the redemption fee goes to 0. Now we might have multiple redemption fees. Redemption events might occur all the time. Okay, and why we have lower stability pool in the second scenario? It is because the return is lower. Why the return is lower? Okay, we can decompose the return into two parts, the airdrop gain and the liquidation gain. So liquidation gains in the two scenarios are pretty similar. I can distinguish by my bare eyes, but I can clearly see the airdrop gains are pretty different. The airdrop gains in the second scenario is much lower.
Sorry.
Why is that? Okay, airdrop gain equals the airdropped token multiplied by the token price. And the amount of airdrop tokens are the same in both scenarios. So this implies that the price of LQTY in the second scenario is lower. Why is that? Why is that? Let's see whether it's true. You see, in the second scenario, the LQTY token price is indeed lower than the
blocking the presentation.
Remember,
Maybe so.
At the institute waiver.
Fundamental value of LQTY is supported by its earnings, its revenue, and its earning consists of the issuance fee and redemption fee. And let's see the issuance fee and redemption fee comparisons. So you see the blue line represents the issuance fee in the baseline, and the green line represents the issuance fee in the new approach. In the alternative approach, it's much lower because the fee is around 50 basis points most of the time, and in the baseline it's around 100 basis points. So of course it's higher, it's double the return. Okay, so it means with higher best rate, higher best rate leads to higher issuance fee, and which leads to higher LQTY token price and higher airdrop gain and higher higher return in the stability pool and larger stability pool size. Okay. But of course, it also has a cost. The cost is that it's more volatile. You can see actually in the first figure that the loose token price is more volatile in the baseline approach. So here we can see the trade-off is that with higher issuance fee, you have higher XUTY token price. That's good. But the cost is you have more volatile loose token price. So to find the optimal monetary policy, we need to know the objective of liquidity. You need to strike a balance between the LQTY token price and the loose token price stability. And this is pretty similar to the central banks nowadays. Central banks have two mandates: the price stability and the maximum growth rate. So most of central banks target 2% inflation rate. So if you lower the inflation rate, if you reduce the money supply, you lower the inflation rate, and the cost is that it has lower growth rate, economic growth rate. But if you raise the money supply, you have higher inflation rate, and the good thing is you have higher growth rate and higher employment rate. So central banks strike the balance between the inflation rate and the growth rate, and they decide to sacrifice a bit of the inflation rate. They do not target 2%, 0%, they target 2% inflation rate in exchange for a slightly higher growth rate. And here for liquidity the same, you need to strike a balance, and this 1%, 2%, this is totally up to the team now and also to the community, of course. All right, so this is a simulation for one pattern of the Ether dynamics, right? So if we do the iteration and we change the the Ether price, we run the simulation multiple times for different patterns of the Ether price. Then we average all the data we have. This is what we get. Due to time constraint, let me just jump directly to the result. You see, for the baseline approach, with 1% fixed rate, best rate for both scenarios, for both issuance fee and redemption fee, the mean value of the loose token is 77 basis points higher than its target $1. Okay, and let's check the XUTY token price. It's here. So the minimum value, the mean value is 24, but the maximum value is $50. Right now, if we do the alternative approach with variable interest, redemption fee, and issuance fee, the mean value is 43 basis points. It's much lower, right? And the cost is we have lower XUTY token price. Mean value is 13. It's almost half of that, and the maximum value is 24, also almost half of the previous one. All right, so that's my talk for today.
So I'm sorry for the interruptions. I hope that you could still enjoy this talk. So I just wanted to summarize. I mean, like basically what we tried to analyze here in the first place are the two different, or is basically how we should set our fees, like the issuance fee and the redemption fee, so that we can achieve like multiple goals at the same time, or that we can strike a good balance between price stability. I mean, we want to keep the LUSD closely pegged to the US dollar, but we also want to make the system profitable as a whole. So the LQTY token owners, they should get like a decent fee revenue. So we are now looking into like different combinations and parameterizations of the fee, the base rate, how it should decay and how it should change with redemptions in order to strike a good balance between those goals. So that's about it for this talk. I'm really sorry for the interruptions. So yeah, I had some technical issues. But now I think back to Ashley.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I will actually, I think, yeah, we don't need to go back to sharing my screen. I will just turn it over to Rich, who's going to give us an overview of the proxy contracts. So Rich, feel free to take it away whenever you're ready. I think we just need to make sure you have control. Sorry, yeah, Rich, make sure you have control of the screen.
You should have the screen.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to be talking about third-party integrations. And feel free to interrupt me at any point if you need anything explained in greater detail. So what's the point of these kind of infrastructures that are going to be part of our middleware stack to better incentivize the ecosystem to adopt our mechanism and our kickback mechanism to the community is with this core infrastructure that has to achieve three things. So first of all, it has to still keep all the control nested in the user's hands. So just like you hold ETH before in your ETH address, you can still hold it in your ETH address, but you can also do extra things with your ETH address. You can seamlessly plug in to all existing money Lego infrastructure by writing scripts. Scripts are very, very simple Solidity programs that allow this kind of smart automation for your shares in the Liquity protocol or your utilization as a borrower. Ultimately, you can sign on preset parameters, such as your security sensitivity threshold that you don't want your ICR, your individual collateralization ratio, to fall below, and sign off on that. So in advance, you don't need to keep checking on that. It's a smart wallet, it takes care of it for you. So we thought to use DS proxy, and as kind of a very, very battle-tested and proven plug for us to have this kind of functionality. And it's already used in Balancer, in Oasis, and Maker, and Reflexer. And if you've used any of these dApps before, then you probably already have a DS proxy associated with your Ethereum address. So if you just use the same Ethereum address to open a Trove on Liquity, then all you need to do is register inside of Liquity's proxy registry. That's just an association between all borrowers and their DS proxies if they have them. So it's very cheap, doesn't take a lot of gas. A core piece of this integration is something called ERC 2612. So it allows you to compensate relayers for paying gas in Ethereum on behalf of, I think the slides just got disabled. Some kind of bug. Did you see this?
We need to figure out why this is happening. Sorry, guys. We're still kind of figuring out the best system for all of this, so bear with us. We will get it down eventually. You know, just troubleshooting a little bit here today, but
I'm gonna stop sharing and
get it back up here.
Share it again. Okay, I
think
hope that.
in a waiting room is pretty good at stopping people who might do that.
So
Casper is saying it happens every time someone joins and links that website. Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Rich.
anyways, so you can see in the top right-hand corner, a gas station in Ethereum. You need to pay gas fees for any kind of transactions you do with the system. So we thought, why wouldn't it be a good idea for us to use the underlying stablecoin as a gas compensation mechanism? And this ERC 2612 standard is what allows front ends to basically capture the same capabilities. And since the front ends are already getting a rewards program in Liquity, this kind of thing can continue and manifest itself in other layers of the stack. Another corollary benefit of this is that it accounts for something that Yulin included in his simulations, which is a rational inattention parameter. And that's basically lazy users who never check in on their troves and they get liquidated all the time, and the total collateralization ratio of the system fluctuates pretty wildly because of that. And if you have a sufficient percentage of troves that are actually controlled by DS proxy, you don't have to worry about that. You preset the thresholds, and as a result, the smart wallets, they kind of keep the TCR from fluctuating so wildly and spending too much time in recovery mode, which is something we always perpetually want to get out of if we even come close to. And the scripts that I referred to in the beginning are basically custom functionality that rides on top of this DS proxy interface, and that uses the LUSD stablecoin to pay for gas. Is multiple liquidity pool situations. You just don't need to deploy your own smart contracts even. You can just use something that already exists, some money Legos, and yield farming becomes really, really accessible from a front-end perspective, where users could like drag and drop their arbitrage strategies because of how simple and efficient the arbitrage mechanism is in Liquity. Yield to the stability pool depositors. Additionally, substantial holders of the Liquity token, like front ends, I have to do the reshare again. Should be able to, the front ends or other substantial holders of the Liquity tokens, once they're liquid or able to be staked, they should be stakeable to the stability pool to act as like an extra pillar of over collateralization, such that there is almost never an event where the stability pool gets emptied and there's not enough in the stability pool to cover liquidations. And this kind of nesting can occur I'll have to get back to that one. An alternative router architecture to the one that we decided to go with, DS proxy, is also a more of a hub and spoke model that's proposed by Zerion. And it's also very interesting in that it allows secondary markets. So basically, once you have a trove that connects to this hub and spoke architecture, you can tokenize delegated authority in this trove with a ERC 721. And that will allow you to use your share in someone's trove as collateral for opening your own trove and things like that inside of a smart wallet like Zerion, potentially. So we're starting with the DS proxy because it's a very good Lego to have, and we're always open to other things. So that's all for me. If there's any questions, I'm happy to keep talking. So I'm going to hand off back to Ashley.
Hey guys, thank you so much, Rich. That was great. The proxies are going to be a huge, huge part of what we're working on over the next few months as we head toward launch. They're what's going to enable everyone to link up to us and interact with our protocols. So keep a close eye on that. Rich is doing great work, and we're very, very excited to see what comes out of it. Next, we have Boyan, who's going to give us a demonstration of the new Dev UI, and then after that, we will quickly take any questions. So Boyan, take it away.
Thank you, Ashley. Let me just quickly share my screen. Can you just give me access, please?
Yeah, I think Rich has to give you access.
I gave access back to Ashley.
Oh, to me. Oh, sorry. I will give it to you now. Let's see. I don't have an option for doing that. Are you sure that you gave it to me?
I saw pop up that Ion or someone like that. Anu is a host now.
Anyu. Okay, yeah. I think you gave it to Anyu, not to me. So Anyu, are you there?
Can you please share with me?
Hello? Oh dear. What have we done? Anyu. Yeah, I think Rich actually gave it to Anyu instead of Ashley. Oh no. All right. Well,
Is there another way?
why don't we
Back?
do
No, because
why don't we do Q&A while we wait to see if Anyu comes back online?
I think it's
I mean, if I just need to connect to the dev UI, I think I can do that. I have MetaMask.
Oh, you're
What-
still connected to the screen?
I think so. I could be. Nope.
No, I think only the host can do it. Oh my God, we've really messed ourselves up here today, guys. This is a little embarrassing. Okay, well, I don't even know what to do about a solution for this. Robert, is there some way that you can take control?
with
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Robert is
Okay,
the
so
host.
now
Yeah.
you can give it to Boyan.
sorry, yeah.
All right. Adventures in Zoom, guys. We're all learning together. Thanks for
Yeah,
bearing with
so
us.
I'm the
Boyan,
host
take it
now.
away.
Let me share my screen. Hey everyone. So today I'll be giving you a walkthrough of the Dev UI, focusing on the new features we recently deployed. Those are mainly related to financial incentives. So basically I'll be showing you all the ways you can make money on Liquity. Now obviously this is just a testing environment, but it's very close to the final version. So understanding how the pieces fit together will ensure that you will be well set up to earn the benefits of being an early adopter once the protocol launches. So let's have a look at the agenda. First, I'll give you an overview of the dashboard. So what those cells mean. Obviously, that's just a testing dashboard that we've been using internally. This is not even close to the final UI UX. Just keep that in mind. So we'll do an overview of the dashboard, then we'll jump into the 4 ways you can earn on Liquity, and at the end I'll give you an overview how you can access this environment yourself and play around with it. So let's get going. For the demonstration I'll be using a new account and an old account which is already set up to capture revenue. So I will be showing you how the actions of this account will result in gains on this account. There are 2 main vehicles, so to say, to capture revenue. The first one is the stability pool, where you can capture ETH and Liquity, and the other one is staking. So with staking, you can capture the fee, and there are 2 fees in Liquity. The first one is when you open a trove or when you take out more debt, and the second one is for exchanging LUSD back to ETH. So let's get going. So this new user wants to open up a trove. We have a balance up here. He's got some ETH but no LUSD, no stablecoin, and no LQTY yet. So let's open up a new trove. Let's put in half an ETH of collateral and take out 150 LUSD. And you can see that there is a fee. So this is what will be captured by the stakers. So let's execute this. And you will see this number go up. So we have 129 now. And it went up to 256. So this person got his share of the fee. So that's the first way. The second way, also related to staking, is are redemptions. So redemptions are just exchanging LUSD back to ETH. So let's say we want to exchange 5 LUSD. We have a fee again here, and that's how much ETH we will get for those LUSD. So let's do that. And here we are again looking at staking, and we will see this number go up. All right, it's not much, but we'll take it. So those were the first two ways, staking. Now we move to the stability deposit. So to make any gains in the stability deposit, you obviously have to be invested into it. And this user, entered 80 LUSD into it. We can go a bit higher maybe. Whoops. Let's go to 95. So this is how you deposit to the stability pool and become eligible for rewards. So there are two types of rewards here. The first one is ETH. You receive, so this now disappeared because when you deposit, the funds get transferred automatically to your wallet. So there are two ways to gain. The first one is gaining ETH, which is done by liquidating troves. So when a trove is liquidated, you will get the collateral of that trove, or a portion of it. And the second way is to receive LQTY, and this happens when a new user joins the pool. So every time a new user joins the pool you are already in, you will get some liquidity airdropped, so to say, into your account. And this is how the community will be rewarded for participating in the system, for securing the system. And the sooner you get in, the higher percentage of LQTY you will get, because they will be the rewards will be reduced over time. So let's do that. When someone joins the pool, let's say we want to put in 50 LUSD. So this person is now joining the pool, and we will see this number go up. Here we go. You can then claim this liquidity, which will go to your wallet, and invest it here for staking. So that was the third way to earn. And now the fourth way are liquidations. So at the bottom of the DevUI, you will see a list of the riskiest troves. Now this user has a collateral ratio of 181. This is still very safe. In Liquity, we have the minimum collateral ratio at 110%, so we are very far away. Now, if we want to demonstrate how to liquidate this trove, we need to lower this ratio below 110. This is obviously achieved by lowering the price. So if ETH goes down, so if the value of ETH goes down, so does the collateral ratio. And we have a nice tool here in the DevUI where you can manipulate the price of ETH just to simulate different market conditions. And let's do that. Let's go to 330 and see if this is enough. So let's have a look here. We are at 181, 108.8. Very nice. So this trove is now eligible for liquidation. What does liquidation mean? It basically means that this trove will be deleted from the system, and thereby the health of the system will be improved. But we can't just delete troves. First of all, we need to repay its debt. And this is where the stability pool depositors come in. The stability pool, the funds in the stability pool, the LUSD committed by users, will be used to pay off this debt, and then the trove can be closed, and thereby the overall collateral ratio of the system improved. So when I will liquidate the trove, and let's do that now, you will see two things happen. This number will go down and this one will go up. So LUSD down, ETH will go up. And that's it. You see, this user lost quite a good chunk of his LUSD, but he gained even more ETH. The ratio was 108.8%. So this user gained 8.8% more ETH than he lost LUSD. And when the live system will be deployed, this most likely will be, liquidations will most likely be done by bots. So all liquidations should happen very close to 110%. So the gains should be around 10% for stability depositors in the live system. So that pretty much concludes the presentation. I invite you to try it yourself. And to do that, you need to go to this URL, so dev.ui.liquity.org. I'm at an internal URL, but you use just this. And then please go to the Kovan test network. We found this works best, and we set up a few troves, so it's a bit more realistic. And if you need an E for testing, you can find it at this site. I'll paste this also in the descriptions. So, and if you have any questions, please join us at our Discord. Thank you guys. See you around.